We tend to use a lot of terms when it comes to the quality of just about everything that can be judged. From the simple titles of good and bad, to the more specific descriptions like inspiring or dull. But when it comes to these terms, there is just one that stands out to me the most. And that term is Trashfire. A term used to best describe an unapologetic mess.
But even though it's an unapologetic mess, God, is it entertaining to watch.
Finding these strange and frankly questionable shows, movies, and sometimes YouTube videos has always been kind of a fun pastime with me and my friends. I don't know why, I guess we just like to find things that we can torture ourselves for entertainment.
And that's what I'm going to be looking at this new series, where I take a look at the strange, the bad, the bizarre, the frankly delusional mess that I am not sure if it's actually real or just a byproduct of my latest seizure. So why don't you sit down, grab some popcorn, and get ready for a trash fire.
So, anime. A powerhouse media from Japan that has been going for a very long time, with such works as the original Astro Boy to Tetrujin 28 Go, or as it's called in the West, to even farther back with World War II propaganda, where they used the actual Mickey Mouse as a racist depiction of Americans. Which does beg a question. Did Disney buy this thing? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that they did. Companies kind of buy some weird stuff. I should know because I know Nintendo has done the same thing, as they bought the rights to a Super Mario Bros. Porno. Don't ask me how I know that.
What I'm trying to say is that anime has been going on for a very, very long time. And because of that fact, there's gonna be some shit. Because for every Citizen Kane, there's a Biodome with Pauly Shore. For every Justice League Unlimited, there's the entire run of the CW. Arrow sucked.
And for every anime such as Ghost in the Shell, Dragon Ball, and Space Dandy, there is a Garzey's Wing. Dubbed one of, if not the most infamous anime to ever come out of Japan.
And just how bad is it? Well, prepare to get a stroke. This is Garzey's Wing.
But before we start, let's have a bit of a history lesson just to truly understand why this show is insane. This entire 3-episode OVA was created by a Mr. Yoshiyuki Tamino, which, not gonna sugarcoat what he did, he made f***ing Gundam. Around 1983, Tamino decided to work on a different project, known as Aurora Battler Dunbine, a 49-episode series about a magical fantasy world that also has giant robots, because when you have something you're good at making, you tend to stick with it. Years after Dunbine ended, Tamino decided to continue the series in 1996, set in the same world known as Byston Well. It was called Tales of Byston Well, Garzey's Wing. Yeah, that's a mighty fine set of words you got there for a title. The show was then picked up and dubbed for English-speaking audience by Central Park Media, who usually distributes more mature anime and are responsible for bringing over the Slayer series and the Patlabor series. I actually made a video on the first OVA they made. You can check it out if you want to. You don't have to. Oh yeah, and almost forgot, they also dubbed a lot of porn. And yaoi!
But now that we finally have the backstory, we can finally crack into this thing. Prepare to hurt.
Our story starts with this kid named Chris being scolded by this one girl, who I don't know the name of, so I shall refer to her as Girl. And by scold, I mean quickly give an exposition dump of who Chris is, stating that Chris had failed the college entrance exam, he now is going home, and finally says that he's just too easygoing before cutting out to Chris driving down the road. Which is just too bad, because I was really hoping that she'd talk about his social security number and how many times he farts a day. During his drive home, he notices that his necklace is shaking, saying that it might be some sort of shrine, and then a magic goose comes out of nowhere and steals his naked soul. His soul then hears a voice telling him to use the power of earth and water, passes by 2 women, snags a fairy, grows wings out of his ankles, and is transported to a place with people riding on monsters. Then a bunch of rebels come out of nowhere, start attacking the people on the monsters, then tells Chris that he is the Garzey's wing, gives him a sword, and now he's trying to fight his way out of there, while still butt-ass naked.
I'm sorry, I think I blinked once. What the f***?
Oh, I didn't cut anything out. This is, beat for beat, what happens in the first 3 minutes! Oh, but don't worry guys, don't worry. It gets worse. So, to do the Herculean feat in making sense of the plot, the story is about Chris getting teleported to Byston Well, where he teams up with the freed slaves of the Kilgore tribe, who are now rebelling against the evil Fun Gun and his war beasts. The reason Chris is now with them is because they believe he is the legendary Garzey's wing, a warrior that Priestess Hassan and her daughters, Kipple and Tupple, predicted to come and save their world. This ragtag group of slaves is led by the wise Ketikaris, and consists of Lieutenant Chuchuku, the advisor Philocris, and the female warrior Jungaga. And together they'll try and escape the king's evil forces, led by Gelgagaji and Zandabo.
By the way, just want to clarify, I made up half of those names. Just half. I'm not telling you which ones I made up, though.
But how is Chris gonna help, you definitely didn't ask? He's just a regular guy. He couldn't even pass the college entrance exam. And his Soch is 514. Well, he's in luck, cause he has the power of Garzey's wing, which gives him the graceful divine ability of growing wings out of his ankles and allowing him to fly. And he can summon this power whenever the plot demands it. I don't know how he gets the power. The plot doesn't really explain how, and frankly, I don't care.
I mean, not to be rude, but the Garzey's wing sounds like just a lame X-Men power you'd get. Like, oh, hi, my power is to grow wings from my feet. Sometimes. Not right now. Maybe on a Thursday.
But that's not the only thing he can do. He can also communicate with someone from his own world, a person he has a close connection with, which happens to be himself. Wait, what?
I think the plot lost me. Can you please send help? I don't know where I am. I only have this empty Wendy's bag as substance, so
So, there are other anime shows that do this type of otherworld concept known as isekai, which is Japanese for oversaturation. In a few of these shows, the main protagonist can have the ability to talk or even return to the outside world, usually in the form of magic, or the world's just one big video game you can log off from. Well, Garzey's wing decides to do something truly unique. And by unique, I mean ow! My brain! So here's the gist. The Space Goose came and took Chris's soul, but left his body in the real world. A body that is still functioning. Like, very much functioning, as in he can walk, talk, and think independently, like none of what happened actually happened. But he's able to communicate with this other Chris through telepathy, and helps this other Chris with modern knowledge of science. And he has to do it because if one Chris dies, then the other dies as well. Now, this raises a lot of questions, like, how's the body still living without the soul? Is he the same person, or is he a clone? After all, he has independent thoughts and actions, so which one of them is the real Chris? Are they both the real Chris? Is Chris going insane? It can't be, because one gets damaged and the other feels it. If one of them had sex, would the other one feel it? Would it be cheating if one Chris had an affair with one girl, but the other universe had an affair with another? Would that? This entire thing is a mess. Little to nothing is explained. Characters have one note or even no note personality, and after everything we went through, the series just ends with no payoff, development, or even a lesson to be learned. An ending that best says,
We hope you've enjoyed No Moral Theater, ladies and gentlemen.
but there is one more thing we have to talk about. Because there is one component that truly turns this utter garbage heap into stuff of legends.
Remember when I said there was an English dub?
Say what you will about today's anime dub industry, at least you have to admit they have something that the late 90s rarely had. And that was talent. A lot of dubbing studios really didn't give much consideration to the stuff they were translating because, one, companies like Central Park Media bought anime that was cheap to license, which most of the time were either complete flops or literally porn, and B, they surmised that the small niche audience of nerds wouldn't give a rat's ass about the quality. They just want their Chinese cartoons. So because of that, we get awkward writing and a wonderful mixture of underacting and overacting. Here's some examples.
Sir Taurog, would you give us honor and come with us?
Although we can't pay you until after we rebuild our country.
No, I'd like to stay on my own. Although I'm looking for an employer, I would rather watch the Matomi a success from the distance.
We'll use the Daragal to fight the Matomia's main army. Using Banduran as horses only make them exhausted.
It is most effective to place a Duraga roll at Gabujuju.
Yes, I was out spying on the enemy with Taurog. Why should you care anyway, since you have Asan here?
My boy, this peace is what all true warriors strive for.
I just wonder what Ganon's up to.
And of course, let's not forget about Chris over here, who by far has the most stilted and awkward voice acting in this trash heap.
I'm going to the class reunion at the community pool. I think it will be good for my present mental condition. Is that the giant dinosaur I saw at the palace in Izumido? We die together? Probably. No, it can't be true! No, they're trying to join with the War Beast Corps, moving ahead of them! You certainly got sexy, Miss Chelsea.
Oh, and if you thought his voice was ear-grating now, then get ready. Because sometimes he screams.
Oh! Ah! Oh! There! Oh! Over here! Chris! What's going on, Chris?
And ladies and gentlemen, to finally end this Screampalooza, we have this.
Well, that was Garzey's wing. That was certainly, real. What the hell did I watch?
So what now? Well, for Tamino, he went back to the Gundam franchise with titles such as Turn A Gundam, and in 2005 made another attempt to return to Byston Well, with a 6-episode online series known as The Wings of Reen. And the reception on that is mediocre. As for Central Park Media, they went bankrupt in 2009. In the end, Garzey's wing will forever be a black spot in the anime market. It's just beyond sensical with the dubbing and the actual show itself. And if you have the time, I say you should check this out just to see how utterly bad this thing is. Because at the end of the day, this is nothing short of a trash fire.
Well, that was terrible, and if you have any other idea for a movie or show that I can continue my suffering towards, let me know down the comments below. I would love to see your suggestions. And by love, I mean dread. Well, that was a trash fire. Now I'm going to bed. I need to sleep off after all that crap and... Yeah, come in. Ghosts!
then I died.